Welcome to the Fold Mysteries, where we seek to discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. Welcome to our Halloween special. So, as you can see, Chad and I are dressed up in our Halloween garb. I'm going to guess Chad is a football player. And Chad, what do you think I am?
A princess?
Ah, a Viking.
A Viking
I am
princess.
a Viking warrior, and I don't have war paint on, although they typically wear war paint into the battlefield. Um, so I'm incognito. That's why I'm in my hood and everything else, and my cloak. I'm a Viking, but you just don't know it yet. So tonight we kind of planned for to talk about the traditions of Halloween, Halloween lore, some of our own scary stories, some cryptids from our local regions, as well as some of our own personal experiences. And I brought along some of my own paranormal experiences that I have dealt with over my life. And also, another little special treat is the video that I worked so hard to find that I think is amazing. So, we're going to save that video for the very end. What do you think, Chad? Ready to go into this?
Let's do it.
All right. So, um, so do you know anything about the tradition of Halloween and how it all started, how it all began?
Um, I heard something about the jack o' lantern recently. I don't know how that came about, but no, really, how did Halloween come about, Gwendolyn?
So it started as an ancient, like Celtic, tradition, for the festival of Samhain, and they practiced souling and guising in the medieval times. So this is where people believed that at the end of the harvest and at the beginning of winter was a liminal state of time. And what I mean by liminality is where it's not one thing, it's not another. It's that state of being in between. Um, so this liminality state. And oftentimes that's why you'll see like hotels that are haunted, or like schools, places where there's constantly people coming and going. There's no period of time where everything gets settled into being consistent. So those places are in a constant state of liminality, and that's why it's believed that those types of places tend to be very haunted. Um, so that's what they believe. That's this liminal state of time on October 31st, from the end of the harvest and the end of the warm seasons into winter and the beginning of the cold seasons where there's no more crops. So because of that, they believed that spirits would come up and the veil was thinner and they would be haunted by these spirits. So in an attempt to appease them, they would dress up in different types of garb, and they would costumes, and they go door to door. Um and the poor people would typically go door to door, and they'd knock on the door and offer prayers to the people of the family that are deceased from that home, or um they do entertainment to sort of appease the spirits. um so that's actually how the whole uh you know costume thing started for Halloween. Now, when they came over to the US, European traditions changed that a little. And we'll go into how it became the Halloween we know today. Um, so, uh, Way back when, let me get to the information here. So, we already talked about why they dressed up in Halloween garb, but the reason why um it was called we now do trick or treat is because of something called Black Halloween. And it was during the Great Depression, so Halloween had become a time where young men could blow off steam, cause some mischief, and play a little trickery. and and at one point they went too far. So in 1933, hundreds of teenage boys flipped over cars, sawed off telephone poles, and engaged in other acts of vandalism across the country. And people began to refer to that as Black Halloween, similar to like the Black Stocking that happened prior, or that happened recently. So rather than banning the holiday, as many people demanded, communities began organizing Halloween activities and haunted houses that would keep, pranksters occupied and make it more of an organized event. So that was back in 1933. So we've been doing organized Halloween events since 1933. Um, so that's kind of how the Halloween tradition started and ended up an organized holiday. Um, so yeah, what do you think about that? It's kind of interesting. I like a little history.
I think it is really interesting. And it's funny how it's changed from what it was originally. And then when it comes to this country, it's like revised a little. And I'm sorry that my neighbor came over. He owed me $40. I'm like,
Did you get your $40? Oh yeah. He crumpled it up for you, handed it to you. Crumple, crumple. Here, there's your $40. Nice. It's always nice to get paid back.
sorry about that.
No, you're good. So, so Halloween, has always had this stigma for some negative connotation, whether that be, the thing of the veil, but it did get associated with witchcraft. It was considered a pagan Celtic sort of holiday, but there's, some other traditions that kind of go along with it. One of those is witches riding brooms. So, um, and that just kind of it fit right with Halloween because Halloween was kind of associated with witches due to the Celtic pagan connection. Um, but there's a reason why witches riding brooms was associated with Halloween and why witches ride brooms in general. So I'll read an article by Sarah Pruitt. She's a really good writer. She does a lot of good research. So I'm happy to share an article she wrote about why witches ride brooms. Um, so it says the evil green skinned witch flying on her magic broomstick may be a Halloween icon and a well worn stereotype, but the actual history behind how witches came to be associated with such an everyday household object is anything but dull. It's not clear exactly when the broom itself was first invented, but the act of sweeping goes back to ancient times when people likely used a bunch of thin sticks, reeds, and other natural fibers to sweep away dust or ash from fire or hearth. This household task shows up in the New Testament, which dates to the first and second centuries AD. The word broom comes from the actual plant or shrub, which I didn't know, that was used to make early sweeping devices. It gradually replaced the Old English word besom through the both terms appear to have been used until at least the 18th century. From the beginning, brooms and besoms were associated primarily with women, and this ubiquitous household object became a powerful symbol of female domesticity. It's a big word. Despite this, the first witch to confess to riding a broom or besom was actually a man. His name was Gualaum. I hope I said that right. Edelin. Edelin was a priest from Saint Germain near Paris. He was arrested in 1453 and tried for witchcraft after publicly criticizing the church's warnings about witches. His confession came under torture and he eventually repented, but was still imprisoned for life. By the time Edelin's confession, the idea of witches riding around on broomsticks was already well established. The earliest known image of witches on brooms dates back to 1451, when two illustrations appeared in the French poet Martin Lafrance's manuscript. In the two drawings, one woman soars in the air on a broom, and the other flies abroad a plain white stick. Both wore headscarves that identified them as Waldensians, members of a Christian sect founded in the 12th century, who were branded as heretics by the Catholic Church, partly because they allowed women to become priests. Um, Anthologist Robin Skelton, her name is Skelton, suggests the association between witches and brooms may have roots in a pagan fertility ritual in which farmers would leap and dance astride poles, pitchforks, or brooms in the light of the full moon to encourage the growth of their crops. This broomstick dance, she writes, became confused with common accounts of witches flying through the night on their way to illicit meetings.
We'll leave that up to the imagination.
Yeah, illicit meetings. Um, so, um, so witches were linked to pagan rituals due to, their actions that seemed mysterious as they're dancing around a bonfire on, different styles of sticks and poles and besoms. Um, so it's over the years got associated with Halloween. So that's why witches ride broomsticks. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Hmm. Well, it's definitely interesting. Um,
Yeah.
it'd be convenient if you just hop on a broomstick and go over where you want, anywhere you want to go. I mean, that would be convenient, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Right? Exactly. She also states that broomsticks were thought to be the perfect vehicles for special ointments that and salves that witches brewed up to give themselves the ability to fly among the depraved activities. So there you go, witches
They were
flying on brooms.
they were special broomsticks.
Yes, yes. I get offended when I see like, those broomsticks hanging in the window. I'm like, that's my ride. They're taking my ride. They're special broomsticks.
Hmm. Yeah.
How about you? Do you have any Halloween lore or anything? I got one more.
Go ahead. You're in a roll.
Well, so the last Halloween lore that I kind of brought to the table was one that I've lightly touched on in the past, which is that of jack-o'-lanterns. So, jack-o'-lanterns are actually derived from Irish tradition, and they are associated with flying lights. And I discuss those a lot. And they go by many names. So, Ignis Fatuus, and that is Latin. Um, Flying fire or something like that, I think is what it means. Fatuus is fire in Latin, but I can't remember what the first word is. And then there's fairy lights. There's will o' wisp, and in Australia, also min lights. So they're kind of all over. And so every country, pretty much everywhere, has experienced these strange floating light balls. But in Ireland, they actually came up with a story kind of behind what they are and why people see them, and that's where the story of the jack o' lantern comes from. So, I'll go over that story really quick. So it says there's an Irish legend associated with the jack o' lantern, and the tradition was brought to the United States by Irish immigrants. The story goes that there was a man named Jack who invited the devil to drink with him at his Cheryl says, it amazes me how all this goes through history. I think we can make things good or bad as we want. I prefer the cute Halloween, haha, and occasional horror movie. Ditto. I love watching the kids run around in their Halloween costumes while my kids are out doing their thing. And you gotta celebrate with a little bit of horror too, a little bit. So I agree with you. So the story of the jack-o'-lantern is that there was a man named Jack who invited the devil to drink with him at his favorite pub. Jack did not want to pay for the drinks, though, so he and the devil made a deal. The devil would turn himself into a coin so Jack could pay, but Jack had to promise to give the devil his soul. So the devil kept his part of the agreement by turning himself into a coin. But Jack was sly. He put the coin into his wallet, where he also carried a cross. The cross prevented the devil from turning back into himself. The devil negotiated another deal with Jack. The devil would be set free if he could wait 10 years to come back to take Jack's soul. 10 years went by, and the devil came back to take Jack as he was walking down a country road. Jack told the devil that he had just one last wish to eat an apple, his favorite fruit, before he left Earth. Jack convinced the devil to climb an apple tree on the side of the road and pick up a nice, ripe apple at the top. As the devil was climbing, Jack carved many crosses into the trunk of the tree so that the devil was unable to climb down to take Jack's soul. Jack had outsmarted the devil once again. In order to be set free, the devil had to agree to never take Jack's soul, not even in death. So Jack went back to his life, and eventually he became old and did die. Now, Jack had a big problem. In his life, Jack had been a drinker, a liar, and a cheater, so he could not get into heaven. The devil had agreed to never take him, so he could not get into hell either. He had nowhere to go. The devil, knowing this, reached into the fire of hell, threw a hot coal at him, and told him to go away. Jack put the coal inside a turnip he was eating and used it as a lantern to light his way. Since that day, Jack travels the countryside, a lost soul looking for a place to go. The Irish called him Jack of the Lantern or Jack o' Lantern. Many people believed that on Halloween, ghosts and evil spirits tried to come back to Earth. They thought that Jack, because he was damned, would scare them all away. So they carved turnips or beets and put candles in them so that they looked like Jack's lantern. They put the lanterns in their windows to keep the evil spirits away from their homes on Halloween. Many Irish came to the United States between the years of 1845 and 1850 because of the Great Famine in Ireland. They brought the tradition of the jack o' lantern with them. Turnips, however, were not easy to find in the United States, but there were many pumpkins, so they began to use pumpkins to make their lanterns. And actually, pumpkins are easier to carve because they're bigger and softer than a turnip. So, thus, the jack o' lantern was born. And it all started from these weird paranormal floating lights.
Orbs?
Orbs. Orbs. Yeah,
No.
orbs. Have
Okay.
you ever seen any of those
Uh,
yourself?
a couple in my life that I will 100% say just floated up and came out of nowhere. Like,
What color were they?
it was like a bluish white. Both
Yeah.
were bluish white. They
Yeah.
weren't really colored.
How did it behave? Like, was it just steady or did it float up, down, fly away,
We were
or
we
just
were in that
disappeared?
we were in way northern Michigan doing a Bigfoot research thing, and John Thaler was there in his motorhome with his wife at the time and his kid, and he had all these like fireworks and stuff, and people were out researching and stuff, and it was just kind of like me and him there, and he lit off this giant Chinese lantern that just slow. It's like a big ball. It glows and slowly floats up, and then we're watching it, and all of a sudden, this light in the woods, this ball of light, came out of the woods, flew right up next to it, sat there for a second or two, and then just darted back into the woods, and like
Oh, wow.
we watched this thing float up. That was the most incredible I ever seen. But I've seen it where there was one time I couldn't explain it, just like it was floating to the woods. There was nothing around. There was no roads or nothing, and it seemed
Yeah.
fairly close. And but other than that, nothing definitive. I mean, orbs on photos, yeah. Sometimes you take a picture and there'll be something there that you
I think that's a
capture.
little different. Yeah. Yeah. Because these are actual, like light balls you can see with your eyes.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's what orbs are. That's what orbs are supposed to be. A lot of people tend to mistake orbs. I hate to say this, but a lot of times it's dust or bugs or other debris. There's constantly debris flying around that you don't notice, but if you're in the dark and you pull out a flashlight, you could typically see all the dust that floats around, especially if you're in haunted locations.
Mhm.
But orbs are supposed to be these light bulbs, but, I think that orbs have gained kind of a different sort of branch of light balls, I guess. Um, typically well, actually, nearly always, the things that are attributed to these light balls that we're talking about from the tradition is outdoors. Um, and people describe them as blue or bluish white, which is what I've seen a couple of times. And then at one point I saw yellow, and they can even show up as green. So they can be a variety of colors, but typically they're like bluish white color. And they have this they oftentimes are described with like this bouncing motion, like it's somebody like walking with a flashlight or a lantern. So that's where, the story of, Jack walking around, because typically they sort of bounce. And sometimes they're described as like shooting up into the sky or just like slowly caving in on themselves and going away. So there's been so many people that's seen them. I've seen one 3 times, and two of them were bluish white, and then the other one was yellow. And they scientists are aware of the phenomena. They try to explain it away as bog lights, which,
No, like
you
ball
know,
lightning too. Like ball lightning
ball
is.
lightning, or bog lights. Bog lights
Mhm.
are where, in a swampy area, you get this decomposition underneath of the marsh, and it builds up this gas within the decomposition, and then it shoots out as this light ball, and it kind of implodes on itself. I mean, yes, that is a scientific fact that bog lights do happen, but the problem is that bog lights are too unstable. They can't sustain for a long period of time. So there's no way that they could, bounce for a little while, to the degree that people describe, before they implode. It's kind of like an uncontrolled gas that just like shoots up and implodes. So, um, but ball lightning is just so insanely rare. And people I don't really describe like storms or anything.
Ball lightning is crazy.
Yeah,
People that have reported say it just moves along. It's like this glowing ball, and it just
yeah,
moves along, and it's like, and it like it has a mind of its own, goes where
yeah.
it wants, and it is rare though. You're right. I mean,
It's so rare. But I remember my mom telling me a story about my aunt. She had ball lightning that she said actually came through the wall of her house and floated through her room and then back out the other wall of the other side of the house. And I'm like, wow, that's so dangerous. Because imagine if it would have touched her or anything metal, it would have
mhm.
like sent the whole house into like this conductive state.
Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but the report is ball lightning. It's most common around railroad tracks.
Hmm, I
Maybe
didn't
it's
know that.
it's highly common around railroad tracks if you're in an area with railroad tracks.
I wonder if it has to do with all the iron there.
I mean, Earth energy. Who knows?
Yeah,
We
that's
know it
interesting. I'm gonna have
exists,
to look more into that. I'm gonna make note
right?
of that.
We know that like ley lines exist and their ground is electric. Well, we
Yeah,
laying these metal beams down on the ground, insulating them with
yeah.
rock. Something. Yeah. Well, yeah, who knows?
Isn't concrete, which is kind of like rock, isn't that conductive or no?
Oh, absolutely. You can get shocked. You can
Yeah,
get
that's what I
electrocuted
thought.
from concrete, especially if it's
Yeah,
wet. Yes.
yeah.
It's not an insulator. It has to
No.
be like a certain types of plastic are what can insulate you from metal.
Yeah, it's like rubber. Has to be
Right.
like a rubbery material. Yeah,
That type of stuff.
yeah. That's interesting. I'm gonna look more into that railroad track thing, because I mean that makes sense. Think of all the metal that they lay down, and then the rock, like
Um,
you said, and then also they also clear out all those trees and stuff. So, it takes away all that protection, all
You
the
know, there's a lot of
surroundings.
other things that happen on railroad tracks too. There's
That's
hauntings,
true.
but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Bigfoot does typically take the path of least resistance, which we were talking about this another time, how he sticks to the power lines because they clear that whole area of foliage and it's a path of least resistance. And I mean, not to compare Bigfoot to animals, but even animals do that. Like whenever you have a lost dog, they often will find their way to the road and then run alongside the road because that's a path. Animals naturally want to take a path.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's very cool. Um, so I hear that you have bringing tales and stories of some local things around you.
I don't know. Do you got that audio?
I do. I do. Actually, I think I might still have it. Oh, still have it pulled up. I
Let
do. I
if you
do.
have it, it's purportedly the Dewey Lake Monster. It almost sounds like who's that? It's two legs sloshing through the water and weird growls that aren't frogs. And I don't know.
Let's
Think
hear
what you
it. This is
want.
the Dewey Lake Monster, and then you can kind of give us on what exactly the Dewey Lake Monster is.
You can hear it's walking bipedally. Frog type sounds, kind of, but not right now. The main thing I question is why is there no more?
Wow.
Why does it end here? There certainly has to be more. So I do question that, but it's intriguing. You hear the bipedal walking in the water.
Oh, excuse me.
It was done well before AI was really AI.
I mean, yeah,
And
2013, and this was. Do you know who this was recorded by?
no,
Bill Hanson.
or that's the
Recorded
person
by
that
Bill Hanson.
posted. I don't know who recorded, but the
That's
funny
it.
thing
That's
is,
him, Bill Hanson.
in 1964 is when in Dowagiac, Michigan, in the Sister Lakes area, this on the Dewey Lake swamps was this thing was reported. The Dewey Lake monster. It's a Bigfoot type cryptid. So obviously it's a Bigfoot. But in 1964, they didn't really have the name Bigfoot in Dowagiac, Michigan. Like before the Patterson Gimlin, and
Right.
so this creature was around for a few years and seen by multiple different people and encounters and with farm animals taken and things like that happened. Who knows? I don't want to get
I mean, yeah, there's
probably dogs taken
several.
and
Yeah, there's several artist renditions of what could be what people describe as a Dewey Lake monster, and I think that this is probably the most famous one. I'm gonna jump back over here and make sure you guys can see my screen here. Um, this is the one that I remember the most as far as the Dewey Lake monster. That creature right there, which she's pretty creepy. Oh, well, we don't want to see
it
that
lived
guy,
in
but
the swamp. It did.
so
It
here,
came from the
also,
swamp.
yeah, which I mean is very Bigfoot-like, you know. Um, let's see, you got another one there. So he seems like he's got these almost long, sort of extended claw-like fingers.
Kind of like
Wow.
me.
Hmm. Just like you, Chad. But yeah, that first one I showed though was the one that I remember the most as far as the Dewey Lake monster artist rendition. So yeah, that's a definitely a Bigfoot type creature, but it just doesn't seem quite Bigfooty, you know, like it's different. There's quite a few differences, I think. But maybe that was, you know, like a rebel. You know, we have, you know, these
Like the
sort of
skunk ape. The
unique.
skunk ape
Yeah,
purportedly
yeah,
is it's a Bigfoot type creature, but like totally different in
different.
build
Yeah.
and toes and
And if you look at people, if we were to compare it to us, we have people that have different characteristics, different sort of looks, you know, even abnormalities. So maybe that's, you know, maybe that was one that ran around for a period of time that just didn't stay out of the limelight and was seen by a lot of people.
yeah, you don't really hear a lot of reports out of that area, but it's a great area. But I don't think people
Yeah,
really go in there and research deep in the swamps. Back in 1964, these people were hunters. They were out there living off the land in
right,
1964 in this area, and yeah,
right.
always interesting.
Um, It is interesting. It makes me wanna go out there to that area and traipse around the swamp. You would traipse around the swamp? Why you look like that? You would traipse around the swamp looking for the Dewey Lake monster?
I I'll send you a video of me going through a swamp all by myself
Yeah?
filming it. Yeah, and it's like
Oh,
two
not
and a
by
half,
yourself.
3 foot. No, I have a video of it.
Oh,
I
you
did it
do
years
already?
ago. Yeah, by Ernie's house.
Dang.
Ernie
Yeah,
and Michelle
yeah,
and Waterloo. Yeah,
yeah.
well,
That's awesome. Yeah, send it to me.
I'll do it. All right. Okay, you're gonna do it with me then.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm so down. Um, you got another local legend though. I wanna make sure I don't miss out on that one because 'cause I'm
It's
actually really excited to check this place out.
it's really controversial, and as it should be because of the
It's a
legend
local
of it.
legend.
People
Yeah.
will say it's real. People will say it's fake. They'll say this. They'll say that. But it's called Seven Gables Road in Michigan. And what happened is that road got some wealthy people on it, and there was a witch that lived there, and the people couldn't stand the witch. She wasn't goody two shoes enough for them or whatever, and they made her life. They tormented her, and they burnt her house down. I believe with her in it. I'm not sure, but they burned her house down, and she cursed the land. And the people that have died, purportedly, like a guy that moved onto the land that the witch lived on, supposedly killed his children and his wife, hung them, and then killed himself. Um, and then there was other like crazy things like, well, there's been, for a fact, somebody killed a little boy and dropped his body off out there.
Oh,
Um, but the rattlesnake population is like crazy. People will warn you not to let your dogs run loose out in these woods. I don't worry about
wow.
rattlesnakes anywhere in Michigan with my dogs, but people tell you not
Right.
in these woods. So purportedly it's cursed. I've been out there a few times. Um, I've experienced a couple little like weird things, not like anything incredible, but have found stuff. Found all this area where there was just dead deer everywhere out in the middle of the woods. My dog found it for us. There was dead skeletons and all that.
Oh my gosh.
And just like it's like a killing, like where they would, I don't know, the area almost seemed like a place. There was a lot of pine trees they could sit under and stay dry, and it was way back in the woods out there. It was weird.
Wow.
I can't say it was Bigfoot. I can say there was 8 dead deer.
Wow.
Each of
So it's
those.
almost just like this whole area that you're talking about in Seven Gables Road is just very negatively tainted.
No, there's the energy there sometimes. Sometimes I don't
Yeah.
feel it. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I like, I pray. I pray before I go walking
Oh
out there.
yeah.
I pray
Oh, for
before I
sure.
cross the gate. There's a legend of people that step over the gate and don't die and stuff like that.
Wow,
There's a
that they do
gate.
die?
I don't know. There's a legend that you have to
Right. I mean, local
ask
legends. Yeah,
permission, go
for sure.
around, and not go over the gate. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. As crazy as it sounds, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a spooky spot. We got to go,
Yeah.
and it's close
Yeah.
by.
I want to go. I like to go to places like that that have this sort of negative connotation and try to read
Yeah,
beyond the legends into the actual area and kind of get a story, what
yeah.
the vibe, behind
A
the
lot of
story.
ghost hunters really do go out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess there's also some controversy on the actual location of the house as well,
Yeah,
I hear.
yeah. There's multiple houses out there. There should be like 5 or 6 foundations out there somewhere.
I think is weird is the fact that none of those houses exist anymore. Like they just all. Do you know anything about the history of if was there an old town there and it just didn't do well
It
because
was
like the
just
railroad
a
placement?
group of rich people that lived there, and there was one like mansion that had 7 gables in it, and on the house is a big house, and yeah, that was the main house. The rich people, the witch was like lived in a really tiny. She wasn't like living in a huge house, but the witch was
Right.
the original one there. And other people moved their houses there, and they didn't like it. That's just
Yeah.
who knows. I
I
mean,
mean, in that era, there's a lot of mysticism that people would attach to random people that didn't
mhm,
really deserve it. So you might be right as far as like how they felt about her and how they reacted to her even because a lot of people say that these stories are far fetched, but then you look at the Salem witch trials and you're like, wow, that happened. We know
yeah.
that happened. So what's to say that this also didn't happen, or at least a form of it? So
Who
it's
knows what the
interesting.
truth is? I wish I knew. I love the story. I really
Yeah.
do. I love the lore
I wonder if
about it and the
I wonder
mystique
how far
about
back.
people.
Yeah, exactly. The mystique is interesting, but I wonder how far
Mhm.
back you could look historically at that location and the buildings that were there.
So, don't you have a manager that can do that for you? Like a production manager?
I do all my
Have the production
research on.
manager look it up. I don't know who they are. Let me know because I'll have them look up some stuff too.
Right. I'll look it up. I'll check it out. I like this kind of stuff. Um, Also, another part of the show that I wanted to make sure that I shared with everybody was kind of like my own sort of paranormal experiences and some videos that I brought along. to go with that. Um, so specifically, I'll start with um, what I have deemed my mimic. Now, this is something I've experienced for many, many years. Uh, as far as I'm aware, way before the term mimic was coined. Um, everybody would call those doppelgangers. I called it my mimic because it didn't just copy my image or other people's image that were close to me, but also like the sounds, smells, just it would copy anything. So I called it just a broad term of mimic. And I'm not saying I helped coin the term, but I did start going on podcasts and talking about this mimic of mine. And then now I'm seeing more and more people talk openly about mimic and mimicry style hauntings. Um, so just to kind of give you an example of, I swear these shades just moved behind me. So, so one example is when I was younger, I was a night owl. I'd stay up all night long, playing video games and then sleep for 2 hours, get up, go to school. And some days, I'd just skip school because, I was kind of a good kid in school. Like I did all my work and nobody said anything to me about missing school. So, a lot of times I just skip school like 3 times a week and then I just do all my makeup stuff the next day or whatever. And so I'd stay up late, and there was, like, at least 3 or 4 times I came downstairs, and my mom drove a school bus, so she got up pretty early, and, she would get ready, and I always knew she was up and getting ready because I'd smell her, it was Candid by Avon. That was her perfume of choice, and, so she'd wear the specific spray, and I'd smell it through the house. It would, like, waft through the whole house. And I stayed upstairs, the whole attic upstairs, it was finished, and it was my bedroom. So my whole room, I had, like it was almost the same size as the regular house. So I had a living room, I had, like, 2 bedroom areas, and then I had this little area where, I called it my game room, which it wasn't. None of these rooms are separated, it was completely open, and I called it my game room or my game area. So I had, like, a little mini pool table and stuff like that in there. So, I kinda had a really cool room growing up from the time I was, like, I don't know, 15 on and then I actually left that house and came back with my kids later on in life. But, so I'd come downstairs, and you come downstairs and you hit the door that separates the bedroom from the main part of the house. And then right after that door, it would turn, and there was a bar on my left as soon as I was coming down the stairs. My dad had a bar in the house. And then right in front of me, as I was coming downstairs, was this other room. And you had to turn and go between these two areas to get to the kitchen. And then from there was the bathroom. So I hated the bar area and this other little extra room that really didn't have a use because they both just really creeped me out. So whenever I have to make my way through there to get into the kitchen or the bathroom, I would like almost run. And but when my mom was awake, I felt comfortable and confident. At least if something happens to my mom, I can yell for her. Because mind you, I've been growing up with this mimicry style stuff, seeing shadow things, and I say things because they weren't always in the shape of people, and hearing vocals and having stuff thrown at me since I was 12 years old. So, I was kind of spooked often because I was always afraid like what's going to happen next. So I came downstairs and I smelled my mom's perfume, and I'm like, oh, good, she's up. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's only like 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. She should not be awake yet. So I'm like, okay, maybe she got up too early and thought it was time to get ready. So I'm like, Mom, nothing. Mom, nothing. And I'm like, she's not awake. Oh my gosh, she's not awake. And so I start to walk through and I'm like already on edge. And as I'm walking through the smell, it turns from my mom's perfume into this putrid smell. And I'm like, definitely not my mom. And I run and book it to the bathroom real fast. And you know, coming out of the bathroom was always spooky for me too, because there was always this little girl that would talk to me through the doors, not just the bathroom door, but also my bedroom door to go upstairs. Like she would hang out around these doors and just, like, try to talk to me, but I could never understand what she was saying. It was just like this, and my mom didn't believe me for a little while, and I tried to tell her, I was like, "There's this little girl that keeps trying to talk to me through the doors." She was upstairs in my room one day, sitting in my living room area, just hanging out while I was getting ready for school, and we were talking, and all of a sudden she heard it. And I said, "Tell me you heard that." And she goes, "I heard that." And I was like, "Finally, finally she hears me." But yeah, this house was just crazy. But this mimic followed me everywhere. Everywhere I went, in every house I've ever been in, it comes and goes. It'll do a couple of things and then it'll go away for, sometimes a year or a year and a half, like is these spans of times where this mimic doesn't really mess with me.
Com-
Another
common
time, oh,
common like mimic things are like that's a main thing in the Appalachian. There's rules because they will mimic, they will cry for help, they will call your name. There's rules in the Appalachian you don't do because people will swear like you're gonna hear voices out there. They're gonna call you in and you don't hear those voices, you don't listen to them, they're going to call your name, they're going to ask for help, you don't listen to them, you never whistle. There's all these rules in the Appalachian Mountains that, I mean, they've been around for centuries, so they're just made up.
yeah,
No, it's like, and it's a really
no,
haunted place, a lot of people have died in from
yeah.
the
I deem see, there's multiple styles of mimicry. There's like what you're talking about, and I think those get attributed a lot to like skinwalkers,
uh-huh.
to like an actual being that has the ability to take on physical, forms and outward audio sounds. And then there's also doppelgangers that are known to mimic people's images. And those tend to stick with a particular person and they only mimic that particular person's image. And then there's what I deem a mimic, which is something that attaches to a certain person and is able to mimic multiple things like the sounds, smells, shapes, images, not just of the person, but of anybody that's around them. Um, so that's why I think the mimics are different than like doppelgangers, like what they describe in the Appalachians. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of mimicry that happens that's very paranormal esque, and it's happened for a long time. But my mimic, it's followed me specifically, and it just doesn't mimic me. It mimics other people around me. Um, there was a situation when my kids, I think Gage was 9 and Ezra was 7. No, maybe Gage was a little older than. Maybe Gage was more like 13 because that was when we moved out. Yes, Gage was more like 13 because that was when we moved out of the other house I lived in. So
Mhm.
Gage was more like 13. So Ezra was 2 years younger. So she was about 11. And they were playing hide and seek. Nicola was young. Wasn't really into that kind of thing. And he'd often get spooked by hide and seek. So if he did play hide and seek, he would hide behind me every time. So he was sitting on the couch. So he was sitting on the couch. Gaze and Ezra were playing hide and seek. And Ezra comes running in the kitchen and she hides in the cupboard with the sliding door and she closes it behind her. And I just look at her and I smile. And I hear Gage, ready or not, here I come. And maybe like 2 minutes later, I hear, Mom, Mom, Mom. And I'm thinking he got hurt. Like something happened. I throw down whatever I was doing because I don't remember what I was doing, but I was in the kitchen doing something. And I run into and I see his legs sticking out from underneath my daughter's bed, like, from his waist down, sticking out. He's like, Mom, pull me out. I can't move. I'm scared. I'm frozen. I can't move. Please pull me out. So I pull him, I grab his legs and I pull him out and he kind of helps slide himself out. And I look at him like, "What is wrong with you?" And he goes, Mom, I just saw Ezra crawl underneath the bed, and I know it was her because it had her nightgown bottom, and I saw her whole bottom half disappear out of the bed. But I didn't think about it at the time, but it happened so fast. Like she slid under there so easy, and I can't figure out how she did it. And so I ran under there and I slid under there after her, and she wasn't there. And I said, Ezra's in the kitchen. And he goes, "No, no, Mom, don't tell me that." He still to this day is a type, he's experienced so much, but he doesn't want to admit it happened. Like he'll tell you the story, he'll tell you how it went and how he remembered it, and he'll tell you he was spooked, he was scared, and he won't tell you that it was, "Oh, it was this or it was this," but That's all you're getting. You're not getting any ideas or theories or anything else behind it. He doesn't want, doesn't want to admit that it was paranormal, but he'll tell you what happened. And, he was spooked. He was so spooked. So it mimicked my daughter and it like shot under the bed. Same house. We were all of us, and all my dogs. I had 3 dogs at the time. All of us and all my dogs were sitting in the living room on the couch. We were watching a show, and my dogs always sit near me. And so they were all kind of near me, and Vega was on the floor playing with a toy, and she was kind of thrown around, and she growled at the toy, and then she looked up, and the closet door had opened like this much, like just a little bit, and she starts barking, and I'm like, "That was spooky." So we're all just looking at each other, like watching this basement door. It was a basement door. We're all just watching this basement door, and then all of a sudden, all of my dogs start going ape, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then I'm, like, trying to shut up, and as soon as I get them to be quiet, it whatever was down there in the basement goes, and it, like, growled, but it growled like it sounded like a human mimicking a dog growl. That's the best way to describe it. It didn't sound like a dog growl. It sounded like a human copying a dog growl. And I'm like, "Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap." And I get up and I'm like telling the kids, "Stay on the couch, stay on the couch." I get up and I go over and I reach my leg as far as I can and I kick the basement door shut. And I lock it real fast and I'm like, "Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap." I'm like, "You guys, we're all sleeping in one room tonight." So we did that so many times because of weird stuff. I just felt better having them all near me.
Well,
What's another incident that happened? There was a
when
mimic.
you're that kind, when you're sensitive and you can like pick up on vibes and feeling, some people aren't as sensitive as like some of us, or like you were, or like the Robins that can like really pick up vibes. You can pick up vibes from people and stuff like that. You
Yeah,
can be standing in a Burger King ready to order and just look and just feel this guy and be like, I don't like this person at all. Or you can just sense something that's not supposed to be there, but it's
yeah,
there. There's like you're feeling energy from something that's not, you can't physically see.
yeah. It's weird how some people have this innate ability to pick up on things like, vibes, emotions, feelings, places, entities, spirits,
Mm-hmm.
and, I think that we all have the ability, but I think a lot of people ignore it. I know we've talked about this before, where, like, people it's like you and I were having a conversation. If I was kept talking to you, kept talking to you, kept talking to you, and you kept ignoring me, eventually I'd stop talking to you. And I think a lot of times it's kind of the same thing with people who are sensitive versus people who are not sensitive, because I think that people have just learned to ignore it. Life is so busy and they're constantly on the go, 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 and everything, all this stuff needs done. So they block out this, this thing, or they intentionally ignore it and choose not to pay attention to it, and so they're not recognizing it, and when you're not recognizing it, it's just gonna go away. Now I think it's not always true for everybody. I think some people try to ignore it, but, maybe they put too much effort into ignoring it, and then they end up giving it more attention in the end, but typically, I think the more you ignore your abilities, the less you have them,
Agreed, but if you
honestly.
have them, you can't ignore it all. There's always going to be something that pops up. I always try to block stuff out. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to deal with stuff, and but still,
Yeah, and I
sometimes.
think
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I think you're right, because I think that's when some people say, "Well, every now and again, I'll have this weird thing happen to me," and I think that's the moments they can't really ignore,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
It can be overwhelming to it. I mean, I never considered myself a psychic, but in my younger years, I would know things I shouldn't know. I'd be able to know what people were going to say right before they said it. If somebody got stuck in a tree, found dead people, knew an accident was going to happen before it was going to happen, and made the people put their seatbelts on, and like
Mhm.
weird stuff that you just can't control. It's just like it's just too powerful. You can't block it out. It's like almost is it your guardian angel? Is it like a I don't think there's anything psychic about it. I think it's something telling you, you
Giving you that
know,
information.
telling you, hey, something bad's about to happen, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I kind of feel the same way. I think that it's an outside force that is allowing you to have this information. I
And
agree.
it's not even
Absolutely.
a voice. When people say voice, it's not a voice. It's an all-knowing thought. It's a thought that's so strong and powerful out of nowhere that you can't ignore it. It's just a thought. I
Yeah.
I've never heard anything. Nothing has ever said, "Hey, Chad." No, it's just I just knew.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I have had voices, I
well,
had
I've heard
specific
voices,
voices,
yes,
yeah,
but
in my head, that's not auditory to other people. And that's always been, and it doesn't happen very often, but it's always been in haunted locations, and we're able to track the information that I get back to something
mhm,
to legitimize what I heard. And the way I describe it is if you say something to me, my brain will hear it back in my head the same way you said it, even in your voice and your tone and everything will out when I think back to what you said, that's the type of voice that I mean when you
mhm.
hear it in your head. So it's not like you're hearing it, it's like more like you're hearing something that was said and it's repeating back in your head.
I got you.
So yeah.
Like
Yeah.
subconsciously, you're hearing the voice that's
Yes,
not there.
exactly. And then your brain plays it back after your subconscious hears it, and then that's when you acknowledge it.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. But I did bring videos of my mimic. I have been lucky enough to capture it quite a few times. I could only locate because I have files and files and files of just this weird stuff. Because, like I said,
Mhm.
since I was 12 years old, I've had weird stuff happen to me. So, um, you know, when I have a camera out, there's a possibility that I catch something paranormal in the camera. So I have a lot of files, but I have some that are saved in specific folders that are easier to find. So these are some of the ones that are saved in those specific folders. So I pulled them and I loaded them up into here to play for everybody here. Um, so the first one is that I'm going to play. It's actually a Facebook Live that me and my sister had done together because I used to sell paparazzi, and when we'd sell paparazzi, we'd do Facebook Lives. So this happened live, and in the video, you'll see my sister acknowledge it, but because of all the creepy stuff that's always happened around me through my life, my family comes from a very religious background, so they don't like to admit the things that go on around me. Actually, started to kind of, as far as my family goes, gain this sort of negative or evil persona, not willingly, but they attached it to me because of all the weird stuff that would happen around me. And so my sister acknowledges that she also heard it. We heard it in the moment and just chooses to move on. It's very similar to what my son chooses to do when, recalling or recounting things that's happened with him. But I'll play it now. And then afterwards, I boosted the audio, that specific portion, so you guys could hear it a little bit better. So here's the original from the
Peep,
live.
what I just see my name pop up is like being online.
I know, I do that too, but I do that playing around. All right. Okay. Scrambling around, still trying to be ready. I'm never actually ready. Yeah. Did you hear that? I heard it. All right. Whenever you're ready, Margaret.
Oh, okay.
So, it's just one of those things where you get so used to something, you just choose to move on. You got things to do. I had a live to conduct, and this was happening live on that Facebook. But I will play the audio, the boosted audio, and you can hear it basically copies exactly what I say. Scrambling around, still trying to be ready. I'm never actually ready. Never actually ready. So when we heard it at the time, it sounded like my voice. Chad, do you think that that recording sounded like my voice at all?
A little, but not a lot. A little. I can
So it
see where you get
seems
that. I can see where you get that. It did. More
well,
raspy, more masculine than your voice, but yeah.
right. It was not
Hmm.
quite my voice, but not even I didn't even think it sounded a little bit like my voice. But for
Does
some reason, when we hear it in person, it sounds one way. But this particular entity or whatever it is, when it's captured on audio, it sounds completely different than what we heard it.
wouldn't it be
It
crazy if
sounds
you played it backwards and maybe we could understand? I mean, like who you never know.
well, it
Like
says never actually ready. It repeats what I said.
it said what?
It repeats what I said. I said, "I'm never actually ready." And then this thing goes, "Never actually ready." It repeats exactly what I said. It mimicked me exactly, but it didn't sound like me in the recording, but it did in real life when we heard it in the moment. It was, like, distorted on audio for some reason.
Well, it sounded like you. I'm kidding.
But I mean, I'm a smoker. I'm a smoker's cough. "Hey, Dad, hurry up." I sound like. I'll play it again so you can hear it, and listen, it says, "Never actually ready."
Scrambling around, still trying to be ready. Uh, never actually ready. Never actually ready.
That's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Creepy.
And we heard it in the moment.
Well, I'm sure you
Um,
did. How
yeah,
how well how well did you sleep that night?
fine, fine, because you wanna know why?
Why?
It didn't happen at my house, that was my sister's house. I'm telling you, it's not it doesn't have to be my home, it could be anywhere I'm at. Actually, speaking of that, I'll tell you another instance of a mimic that mimicked me. I was at the Monroe House in Indiana. I'm trying to remember where we're
Mhm.
at in Indiana. It's not Monroe, Indiana, but it's the Monroe House. It's on Monroe Street in Indiana. That's why it's the Monroe House. And it's kind of like a well-known haunted location in Indiana. I've been there several times. It's supposed to be a very demonic style haunted house. Well, I went there and I investigated and, got everything done, left. Another investigator that I was friends with went there the day after me. And next thing I know, I'm getting audio sent to me. And he says, "You have to listen to this." And on that audio recorder from his investigation that night, he captured my voice on EVP. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's me." And he goes, "You want to know the kicker?" He goes, "Around the same time I caught this EVP, I saw you walk around the corner and disappear into another room upstairs." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, Just something weird about you and your mimic." And actually, this same investigator spent a little bit of time investigating me individually, me as a person rather than as a location. So I thought that was kind of unique and different. So yeah, that was another instance of a mimic that wasn't even in my own home. It's just wherever I was, well, wherever I am. And this was one of the first times that anybody's came told me that it was from a place that I was, that I had been and wasn't at no longer. So I wasn't even there that night. So that was pretty
Well,
neat.
almost like you had a tag along, like an attachment for the night. Something
But
is
more like I attached to the house for the night, like
or
for the
that.
next day,
I guess that
you know?
I guess that could happen too. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, but nothing super traumatic happened, to cause that sort of like feedback loop that they talk about with residual hauntings from people who are still alive. So it's kind of weird that I don't know if my mimic just stuck around for the night, for the next night, or if, I somehow absorbed into that location and there was like a playback.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I might still have the audio somewhere. I'll have to look for it. But I have another video.
Okay.
So this was also the videos I'm sharing are accidental captures. So this is a video of me talking, trying to get an earring to focus in camera.
The
And
earring.
again, this is a earring. It's an
Okay.
earring. I'm holding it. I'm trying to get the camera to focus on it.
My hearing isn't what it used to be. That's why I was trying to like make sure what I'm going to
Is it
look at.
hearing? Is it hearing or earring? I'm just kidding, Chad. I love you.
I love you too.
But
All right.
yeah, so it was around the same time I was selling paparazzi. I had kind of an older style camera or laptop with no camera attached to it. So I bought an external webcam and I was testing it out to see how well it worked as far as like, picking up all the detail in this jewelry that I was selling because that was important to be able to sell online. And in the process, I hear something, but again, I'm so used to it. You just hear me go, huh, because I'm like, I kind of acknowledged it and moved on. So I'll play this now. Hmm. Did you hear it?
Something. What did it say?
That's the thing is, I can't really figure out exactly what it's saying. I thought it said earring, but somebody else who listened to it recently thought it said obliterate, which is kind of creepy.
Play
But
that last second again.
well, I'll actually play the boosted audio for you that I have
Okay.
here. See if you can pick it up now. Hmm.
Victory.
Hmm. I kind of like your idea of playing it backwards and see if I can figure out what it says from there. That would be interesting. But
Just a
yeah, victory.
crazy thought, but I heard kind of like
Great.
it almost sounded victory.
Yeah, it does sound a little like victory. Let's see what our comments are saying because I think I missed this one. Oh, Project Archivist, Death Face. Um, yeah, I don't know. It could be victory. Something victory, but again, it sounds very almost mechanical, not like it sounded in the moment, which is so weird.
I call it guttural. It sounded guttural.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
came from deep down. It didn't come from like normal speaking. Like it came from like your guts. Like
yeah.
not quite like that. That was
Oh,
a bad example. Sorry, guys.
no, Cheryl said she also heard it and she thought that it did say obliterate. That's creepy.
Obliterate.
Obliterate.
I know
That's
there's that.
creepy.
There's that one thing that they say one word and people hear a different word. What is that called? You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
oh, what is that? Oh gosh, does anybody in the comments remember what that is?
Yeah,
What is
and
that?
it's like proven like other people heard something, and then it's like no, that's what I hear, and then I hear something
Look
totally
at that.
different, and yeah, uh,
I have to look that up.
mind warfare.
Differently.
What's the scariest
But
thing
there's
that ever
just like,
happened to you, Gwendolyn?
huh?
The scariest thing in your life that's
Oh
ever happened to you on this
gosh.
Halloween?
Okay, so probably the thing that still spooks me to this day okay, well, I'm not going to talk about the thing that scared me the most because it was life-changing and traumatic and it's kind of a personal story, but I will share something that still spooks me to this day when I think about it. It gives me the creeps, the heebie-jeebies. Okay, so I was at this haunted location that I actually became a volunteer at. Um, in I mean, it's notorious for having many negative style experiences, and I had negative experiences, and then I had very good connections to other spirits that were in there because I was there a lot. I volunteered there. I came, we cleaned, we swept, took care of the property basically. And so every time we got done, having a day of cleaning or whatever, doing yard work or tearing down ivy, things like that, we would kind of hang out and take the opportunity to investigate the place a little bit. So it was during one of these instances that we decided to hang out, kind of investigate a little bit after working all day cleaning. And there was, oh my gosh, there was many volunteers there that day. If I could think and put a number on it, maybe like 8 people. It was actually more, but they were up. Like this place was huge. It was a hospital. It was an old hospital. It's Old South Central Pittsburgh Hospital. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. And it's a great place, great location. A lot of people know about it. And so we're all in this like little cubby hole down on the it's called Shadow Hallway. And the doors are set up really weird. It's like this weird little section that's like a little bit bigger than the main hallway, and then it goes back. And it's only an area about 4 foot wide and maybe not even that wide. That's yeah, probably about 4 foot wide, maybe about 5 foot long. Like so it's this weird little chunk that's taken out of the wall that separates two areas of the hospital. And so we're all kind of tucked into that little area, and there's about 8 of us tucked in there. And at this point I got my daughter with me. And I've got another friend of mine in front of me who actually turned me on to this place. And we're all standing in this little area, and this guy, I think his name is Todd, he walks out way in front and he's talking about this guy, this thing that he sees. And he's like, oh, it's like we call it the shimmer man. And it's like, it shimmers and it glitters. Can everybody see it? And I'm like, I don't see anything, nothing. And next thing you know, I look down and over, and there is this shadow within the darkness because we're all staring into the darkness. We got lights out, no lights are on. There's just a little bit of light coming in from the windows from the nighttime moon, and I see this shadow, and I'm like, holy crap, holy crap! And I tap the other investigator friend of mine on the shoulder in front of me. I'm like, not there, down and to the left. Do you see that? And she's like, oh, I do see that because she was struggling to see what they were thought they were seeing too. And I was like, she was like, I do see that. And I was like, we're describing how it looks to make sure that, that it's not power of suggestion. We're both seeing the same thing. And it's this little guy who is like, the shape of it looks like the Hamburglar. So he was a
Oh,
little,
it's just really
yes,
a little guy, a little hamburglar.
he was short, about 4.5 foot tall, and he had on this big wide brimmed hat. But it looked like he was wearing like a cloak, and I call it he looked like the Hamburger because it looked like the Hamburger burglar hat. And he's like slowly coming towards us, very slowly. And then I'm like, I start tapping her on the shoulder. She goes, "It's coming, it's coming." I know. And this is how I know it wasn't power suggestion because we're both talking about what's going on at the same time. And all of a sudden, it just, God, it just like it squares up and it like shimmies like really fast towards us. All of a sudden, like super fast, shimmies directly at us. And I was like, and she goes, it just said something in my ear. We both jump back into the people that are looking at something random down the hallway that we couldn't see. We both jumped back, but I will never forget that just like, holy shit, it's coming after us feeling. Because I've never had a ghost rush me like that. They're always kind of off in the background that I'm just viewing from outside, from an outside perspective. This thing rushed us. And the way it shimmied and the way it was like coming at us like that super, super fast, it was like so freaking spooky. Like, oh gosh.
What did it do? Just disappear after that, or
It came up and it was like our eyes were just kind of enveloped in darkness for a minute, and then like our vision came back, like it just like rushed us and like blinded us for a second, or maybe like went right over our eyes,
then it was
but
gone?
and then it was gone.
Uh,
And it was just like,
That's
and I'll just never forget that to this day. It was just the spookiest. But I actually have a video from that hospital. This video is from the first night I was there. And this is one of those times I got the auditory, like almost like a voice in my head. I heard it say, "Give it back." And so I was like, "Oh my gosh, what does it want back?" And so I actually chose specifically that room I wanted to investigate for the majority of the night. And um shoot, I'm probably gonna do this wrong, but
so you had an
shoot.
attachment to that room. That-
Well, because I wanted to speak
yeah,
to it more. It spoke
I know
directly
you
to me,
just
so I wanted to
you had a
hear.
feeling. I'm the same way. It's like
Yeah,
it's I like sometimes when we're out researching, I'm like, nah, this is where I want to be. Right here is where I want to be. You just feel it.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. I think it was Kindred Souls actually
Mhm.
investigated later. And I might be totally wrong. I'm gonna look just to see. I think it was Kindred. Yes, no, Kindred Souls. No, that's a different show. Dang it. I can't remember, but it was a paranormal TV show, went there and investigated it prior to us coming. And but the show that they released didn't come out until long after my first time there. She caught on EVP the same thing I heard in my head. And everybody, I described it to everybody because I was like, I want everybody to know what I heard this thing say. So when they heard that on the TV show, they were like, "Holy crap, that's the same thing that you heard it say." Um, but I have that video. This is of that same room where I heard it yell, "Give it back."
Hey.
If you see when the slow-mo, we
Mhm.
call this the running man because he runs past the frame so fast that we had to slow it down to even get to see it. But you can see in the slow-mo, he's got two legs and he's got an arm kind of stuck out in front of him and he's zooming by the camera. I'll play that one more time and you can barely see the blip. Um, and then when you slow it down, you can see the arm, the two legs and the arm.
Hey.
So yeah, that was same room. That was that old South Pittsburgh hospital. Very cool location. That was a very cool experience. That was my first night there. It was a very cool night. Um, so, but yeah, I actually have two more audio videos if you want to
Is that one
hear
of the
them.
most haunted places you've ever been, Gwendolyn? Or
That's the no, honestly, my own house is typically the hauntest place I've
the
ever
most
been. But
haunted? Yeah.
yeah, but that was the place where I got to frequent the most and have
Mhm.
really solid connections with the ghosts that were there. So that's why that's one of my favorite places to talk about. I got to spend an extended period of time over about a year to get to know the spirits, hear their story, connect with them, know their habits, know kind of where they frequent and where they don't want to go. So that was just really cool to get to have that experience. So if anybody wants connections like that with spirits, find a haunted location to go volunteer your time at. Offer to clean, do landscaping, clean the grounds after other investigators come through. So that's a good
I
way
do
to
that.
kind of get some connection.
I do that. I do that. I pick up at the haunted locations outside and stuff. But the most haunted place I've ever been with you, why don't we bring that up?
Yeah,
The
let's talk about it.
It was Pennsylvania, and then we were in that asbestos filled basement. Remember, we're shining our lights, and there's just like
Oh, the dust was floating
we're
in the air.
hailing. Yeah, dude. It probably took 2 years off our life down there for that couple hours.
For sure. I think I gained like 10 extra wrinkles that night.
But what didn't we have some really weird stuff happen down there? Like we did see shadows. It wasn't just
Mhm.
you and me and Jason. There was the three of us. It was three of us down there. We saw that shadow move on a couple times, not
Yeah.
just once. And then
Yeah.
we set up those lights, your
Yeah. The
little
grid
glowing
pin.
thing. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty fun. I'll never
Yeah.
forget
So
that.
what we did was it was the women's college there in Pennsylvania. I can't remember the name of it though.
Um,
But actually went down to the basement and while we were down there, we set up an ovulus and we had the grid pin set up and we had cameras recording. And in this process, we got what happened first? Was it the wheel thing first? So we got on the ovulus.
no, something
It's
talked. Something. It started with something. You got a like.
growling. We got
You
like a
got
growl.
or something. That's where it
And
started.
we thought it could have been attributed to the elevator. Maybe it was the elevator, but I was like, man, it sounds like it came from the other back room back there. We got that. And then you were sitting on the wheel. And before you even told us that, it said on the broken wheel. And you were
Yep.
like, I said it out loud. And you were like, are you kidding me? Because you're off, like, kind of tucked
I'm
behind this
sitting
other
on a
little
broken
area.
wheel.
And we couldn't see you. And you were just chilling there. And you were like, are you kidding me? And we're like, what? And you're like, he said, I'm sitting on a wheel.
A broken wheel.
And well, we didn't know that at the time, but after we talked to the guy that was there, he said it was down there because it was broken. It was a broken wire spool that
Mm-hmm.
looks like a wheel. And so they had it down there because it was broken. So it was weird. We didn't know even it was broken at the time, but we found out later that
Yeah.
it was. And you're like, I'm sitting on a wheel. And you're like, it kind of does look broken. You're like, no way. And then Jason's like, oh my gosh, guys, look, because I had the grid pen out and it was facing the wall. And out of that grid pen, there was a shape of lasers that were much, much, much more faded. And then you guys could also see the outline of a
Mhm.
figure standing there. And you guys could see that the best because I was back at the ovulus. I was running the ovulus and the grid pen and the camera. You guys were having direct connection with it. And it was talking through the ovulus to you guys
To us,
about
yes.
you guys because you guys got so excited and it said something about you guys panicking. And you were like, no, 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 we're not panicking. We're just really excited to see you. So it was super interactive.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jason sees it move. Like, so we knew it wasn't like one of your own shadows because Jason witnessed it. You and Jason both witnessed it move locations
At separate
and
times. Yep.
shift.
Yep. We did.
Yeah. So that was a really cool location.
Broken wheel. That was awesome. And I'm like, and you guys couldn't even see me because I was like behind a pillar in a different room. And I said, did it just really say broken wheel? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. I said, well, I'm sitting on a broken wheel. And you're like, no way. And I'm like, yeah. And then it got
Yeah.
really,
That was
and
cool.
that after that, it got interactive with us for a few minutes. And then
Yeah.
it was gone.
Super interactive. And like
And then
the back and forth, like the fact that it was like reacting
mhm,
to things that it was witnessing in the room in the current state of time was what was so compelling to me. It was super interesting.
mhm. Yeah, that's haunted by more than that girl that committed suicide. Because
Yeah.
we're there for
Oh,
the
yeah.
girl that jumped. Because that supposedly this girl haunts the place. No, man. And down in that basement was it was dingy, dirt. It was terrible.
It was so bad.
It was bad.
Typically, I don't really like to go in the basements because they get a bad rap, but it's not always bad. But have you noticed that with spirits, they tend to linger in places that are used the least?
Mhm.
It's like they're hiding. So, like, people don't often go in the basements. So basements can sometimes contain, activity
Mhm.
or attics, places where people don't frequent very often. That's where, a lot of the most paranormal activity tends to happen. So I find that to be very interesting. It's almost like they're hiding from us. They don't want to interact.
Mhm.
And, sometimes maybe we get on their nerves and then that's when you hear this random thump or,
Or
door
or
open.
maybe in the cemetery, the unvisited grave site is the most haunted. You never know.
Ah,
Ah.
yeah, that's a good theory. Yeah. I didn't
I
think about that.
mean, literally, that's energy out there, and if it doesn't, maybe their whole family's dead, and there's
Yeah.
still an energy here, and they're left alone, and they get no communication. And I can't wait till we go to our next cemetery together.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
As long as we're both alive.
Or no, well, pray to God, but don't say that, Chad. What the heck? Pray for me. Pray for Chad. Um, so yeah, our next event has to be a paranormal one for sure.
Seven Gables Road. It's an
Yeah.
hour from my house,
Yes, I want to go there. We got to go there. But I
and
want to
we'll
make
just
sure I share. God.
oh yeah, but we'll like get a cabin, Airbnb or something for a couple nights there. It's only 3 hours from you. You just drive to
Yeah, it's
me, and we're
not
there.
too terribly cold. Maybe we can camp. We got our nice warm camping gear. I just
Well,
picked up some winter boots today.
you and me can, but Sherry will be like, "No, I'll stay in the house. I'll do
That's
dishes
okay.
instead."
She's not the dishes person, you know that. She hates dishes.
But she did them at the event, didn't she? She did them at the
Yeah,
cabin
we were
too.
all
No,
pretty
I
crazy,
can't
kinda chaotic busy. So
believe
that was nice of her. As much
she
as she hates
actually.
dishes.
She really did. She did all the dishes at the
Yeah,
cabin, and she did all the dishes at the event.
that's because it's out of the goodness of her heart, not because it's her job.
Um, well,
Um,
if she
but I
keeps
wanna
doing
share.
if she
Huh?
keeps doing that good, it might become her job.
No, I'll help her out. You'll help her out too.
Of
You know
course,
we
I.
will.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. There's just a couple more videos I wanna share before there's a
Yeah.
finale video. It's not mine, but I'll definitely credit the person that posted it originally. But this video is I was driving. I have a dash cam, and I was driving with me and Ezra in the car, and we're talking about something that was like bubbly, and I think it was like a water that shouldn't have been bubbly, and you can hear us talking about it, and then all of a sudden this voice just randomly comes through, and I'm like, "What?" Just her and I both heard it, so I'll play that now.
You shook it up.
So it should not be bubbling like that. That's weird. What did it just say? Did you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it say something.
So
Weird.
yeah, you can hear it, but then I also boosted it, and it was hard to boost this because I'm kind of talking over it, but see if you can hear it better.
It should not be bubbling like that. That's weird. What did it just say? Something like that. Something like that.
Twice? You said what did it
No,
just say, and it said it again?
well, I replayed it. I looped it,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, it would keep playing, but I don't know what it says. I'm gonna listen to you one more time. See
Do it
if
again.
anybody can figure out what it
Do it
says.
again.
It should not be bubbling like that. That's weird. What did it just say? Something like that. Something like that.
Something clean? I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong.
Yeah, I can't. You know what's funny is we didn't have the radio on or nothing. Obviously, you can tell there's
No.
nothing else playing in the
Yep.
background. I heard Shania Twain.
You heard
Shania
Shania Twain?
That's what I heard, but I'm like, that's
If you
damn
played it
right.
again, now I'm going to hear Shania Twain.
I'll play it.
It should not be bubbling like that. That's weird. What did it just say? Something like that. Something like that.
Shania
I do hear
Twain.
some. I do hear something clean. Da clean.
Now I hear Shania Twain, so whatever. You wrecked it for me.
You
I'll
wrecked
never
it.
hear nothing else but Shania Twain.
Shania Twain.
And you're always going to hear clean.
Yeah, I hear something clean. Butter to
Mhm.
clean. That's what I hear. Butter to clean. But yeah, that was weird. That's I I have so many, but I didn't want to like overload the whole show with like just my stuff. Plus, I also have to do a lot better at filing away my videos and audios into separate folders because I literally every now and again I'll go through my phone and I'll call it a file called phone dump 1, phone dump 2. Clear my phone, it just all goes into one place at one time.
And then
And I
when you need it, you
remember
have to go look for it.
yes, but I remember, like, how far back to go because I was like, "Well, when I did phone dump 2, that was right after I got my new computer, so it's gotta be in my old computer." 'Cause, like, it's
Goofball.
ridiculous. Like, gotta do better. Gotta do better. But, when it's investigation stuff, it all goes into a investigation folder. It's easy for me to
Yeah.
find, but when it's my own personal stuff,
Yeah.
I'm just, like, dumping it places, like
Yeah, we'll find out that at the end of 2026 when I need you to pull up a file. I'm kidding.
No,
Do you
it'll
want to
be an
hear?
investigations.
You want to hear like the scariest thing, not in my life, but that I relate today to Bigfoot that happened to me, and I didn't even
Yes.
believe it was, but I was probably 23, 24. I knew what Bigfoot was. I'd seen In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, the $6 Million Man, the Patterson, but didn't think nothing of it. It's out in Michigan. We go up in the UP on the last weekend of gun deer hunting season, way up in the UP. Me, my boss, and his like best friend. They go one way, I go the other. Um, we're out there for a long time. We get there at like a 10 o'clock in the morning, and we don't plan to be back till dark. So that means we're going to be out there for like 8 hours. Like six something would be dark. I go one way, they go the other. I find this swamp. It's freaking perfect. It's like a huge swamp with an opening. Like this, it's weird. Out in the middle of nowhere. You take fire trails to get back there. They cut these
That's
trails in
cool.
case there's a forest fire. And they allow
Oh, okay.
hunters to drive them to go back hunting. And I see that in the openings probably like 10, 12 feet wide, and it's perfect. And I look in, and there's this big massive swamp that's just surrounded all the way around it with thick brush all the way around it. So I decided to sit right outside of it. I got like this carry chair, like little lightweight with a handle. I got my shotgun. So I set up behind a tree, and I'm like, something's going to go in or something's going to come out. I'm going to sit here all night, all day, all afternoon. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I start getting this feeling like I'm being watched, just out of nowhere. Trust your gut feelings, guys, if you feel something. And then I start hearing like a little movement here and there, and it's not like loud. It's like every now and then a crack or a snap, and I'm like really nervous. I'm paying attention to it. I don't know that I was nervous yet. I'm thinking it's a deer. In the beginning, I'm not nervous, but I did feel like I'm being watched. Maybe I'm nervous, so I'm my shotgun ready with slug, buckshot slug, and I'm paying attention to it. Then all of a sudden, something does this click from the swamp, the opening. That's like 20 yards from me. I'm behind a tree, 20 yards from this big opening. It like, but loud, like, and all of a
Oh.
sudden, my attention turns to that, and I'm like, okay, well, of course. Now I'm hunting. I'm on edge. It could be a deer. Yeah, maybe I'm nervous because I felt like I was being watched, but I hear this stuff walking in from the middle of the woods. Now I'm focused on this, that popping noise, and I'm focused on it, and then all of a sudden, another exact popping noise happens from where I heard the thing walking. So now I'm focused over to there, and I hear it. I'm feeling. I swear, I'm feeling it. That I'm like being watched. There's something there. It's like, yeah, call it paranoia, whatever you want. But I felt there was something there that I started feeling danger. Then the pop happened in the swamp again. And then I turned to it, and then the pop and the more noise in the woods. My flight, fight or flight instinct said, get out of there. I picked up my shit. I ran back to the truck, and I was like, I don't know, half, 3/4 mile. I sat there for hours. I asked my boss and his best friend, "You guys out? Why would they be out there messing with me? They could have got shot."
Yeah.
And why did I feel
do
that
that.
way? Why did I feel like I was about ready to die? I had this feeling, get out of here now. I got a 12-gauge freaking shotgun. Why am I scared? Why did I run out of the freaking woods? I mean, I
It's
can't
crazy.
explain it,
Yeah. It is weird. Because you should have felt protected.
but I didn't. I swear I felt
Right.
scared for my life.
Do you think that was maybe like a form of like an EMP hit?
I don't know. It's my very first thing that I will call a possible encounter with something
Yeah.
I didn't know, because something happened that I didn't know.
Yeah. That's wild.
And yeah,
Wow.
I was really scared too, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
Running
Dude,
out of the woods for my life, like I'm about to die. And I'm 23 years old.
it's hard to see you running like that because you're very brave. You're like me. You're just like, you'll run towards it rather than
And I had a
away from it.
shotgun full of
Right.
bullets,
That's why I
bugs,
kind
and
of wonder if it
buckshot.
wasn't sort of
What am I
an
running
EMP.
from?
Yeah. Because it's
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
uncharacteristic of you. It makes me think
Mhm.
maybe it was some sort of
Well,
EMP hit.
it's like when the rock hit the window. Why didn't we stop? Why didn't we
Yeah.
stop? Why did not
Yeah.
one of the four of us think, stop, get out, flashlights right now, find the rock, shine in the wood? Why did we?
Yeah.
You can't explain it.
Yeah.
It's like we were brain dead for a few
Yeah.
seconds. We knew what
Yeah.
happened.
And to talk about that very briefly, this is when we were up in Michigan,
Mhm.
our last trip out together, October, what was it, 17th?
No,
And
it was the 19th.
19th? It was the 19th.
Yeah.
Because we came in the 17th, so it was the 19th when
And
it
then we
happened.
stayed up until after midnight to celebrate my birthday.
Yes.
It
Yay.
was the 19th. It was after we took
Yeah.
those people out. We went to go tear down our tent.
Right. Yeah. So we were out there and we were out there. We weren't out there to get the tents. We were out there to find the trail cams, I
Oh,
believe.
yeah, trail cams. You're right. Sorry.
Yes. And so we were actually creeping along really slowly. Because at this point we were just kind of enjoying it because we had already picked up the trail cams. And so all of a sudden Sherry had just round up her window. She was in the back passenger side of the vehicle. You were in the front passenger side, and I was on the back beside her. She had just wound up her window and yours was down. And all of a sudden we hear this loud cracking sound.
It
It
was
wasn't a
loud.
thud,
It
it
was
was a
loud.
crack. And it was loud. And immediately, there's a huge difference between an acorn hit, a branch hit, or a rock hit. And this was a rock sound smacking glass. And I was like, oh my gosh, we just got a rock thrown at us. And we're like talking about it, but we never stopped. We never stopped to investigate. We just like
We
kept
didn't even
going. It
think
was
to.
late, but
We
you
didn't even
know,
think to. That right? We didn't even think.
I mean, I kind of did, but I was like, everybody's probably going to leave. But I
We
mean, I didn't say anything. Why didn't I say anything? Why didn't I say we're stopping? Why didn't it be
should
like
have.
more? Yeah,
We should have stopped. We should have tried to
yeah,
find
we
the
should have
rock. Should
stopped.
have.
But we
I.
thought, like, there's no way it could have been a rock flying up from the tire and hitting the
We were doing
passenger
10
side
miles
because
an
we were
hour.
going like so slow. Less than that, we were going like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It was so slow. And it was definitely on glass. And then when we got back, we shined a flashlight on it and actually smacked so hard it took a nick out of the window.
Yeah, there's
Like
a
you
little
could
chip.
see like this little spot and you could scrape your finger on it and hear like the sound of glass that had gotten chipped away.
Mhm.
So I tried to get a picture of it. really didn't do that great of a job of it because, it's hard when it's dark and you got the flash shining into the car. My camera's trying to focus on what's inside the car instead of the window, so it kind of blurred the whole thing out. So I didn't get a great picture of it, but I mean, definitely could see that it left a mark on his window, permanent mark. So no matter what, it'll always be there. Little mark
If
from
it went,
Bigfoot.
my window was down. If it didn't hit the back window, if it would have hit me in the head, it probably would have hurt.
Oh gosh, it would have really hurt. Imagine if Sherry hadn't just wound up her window and she got
It would
smacked.
have been
It was
Sherry.
like face height too,
Yeah.
like right at that angle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, geez. Yeah, that was wild.
I guess we know we're in the right area there.
Yeah, we need to definitely go back out in that area.
Well, that's where the conference area is going to be. We're going to like
Yes,
do
next
camp
year.
out. Yes.
Next year.
Mhm.
Yep. Keep an eye out for that. I do
Mhm.
have one more video kind of as the finale, so we can pick up on that video whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'll give a little bit of backstory. This video, it was posted. It wasn't taken by Creepy Vids, but it was reposted into a compilation by Creepy Vids. There's a funny story behind actually getting this video and getting it into our playback where we could actually play it for the show. So I had came across this video before and I was like, oh my gosh, this video is probably the most compelling series of events for the existence of skinwalkers I have ever seen. Like, just so perfect of a series of events and it was captured on multiple things where you knew that the guy wasn't like setting this all up. The reactions are real. The dog involved, its reactions are very real. If you when we watch it, just pay attention to the dog's behavior, to how the guy reacts. It's all very realistic. Um, but I remember watching this video a long time ago. I think it was in like July. I'd watched the video because it was right after Ezra came to stay with me for a little bit. And because I called her into the bedroom to watch it with me. Well, I wanted to get it for this specific night because it's such a cool video, but I could not find it. I went through my history. I dated the history back to July where I knew I'd watched it. I couldn't find it there. I searched it on Google, couldn't find it there. Um, I even went back to like my shared and liked playlist. I couldn't find it there. I spent probably 3.5 hours or longer trying to find this video because I wanted to share it with everybody so badly. And finally, it was like probably 2:30 in the morning, I think, when I finally gave up my search for it. And I was like, you know what? I got to go to bed. It's so late already. I'm just going to turn on a random YouTube video, play a little bit of my video game on my phone, and relax and try to wind down for the night. I took off my glasses, which everybody knows I wear glasses. So I can't see what I'm looking at on the TV screen. I can just see like the blob squares of, things I'm going to play on YouTube. And I just pull up YouTube and I click the first recommended video because I can't see what it is. And I'm just going to listen to it in the background while I play my game on my phone because I can't see my phone up close. So I got to take the glasses off. So that's why I took my glasses off. So I'm looking at my phone and I click play on the video. And all of a sudden I hear the exact video that I was looking for forever, for like 3.5 hours. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm glad that we found it. But yeah, I wish that would happen 3 hours ago. So I got the video. I got it here. I had to break it down into 4 parts because it's a 12-minute video. It's worth it. Stick around. It's definitely worth a 12-minute watch because the ending is mind-blowing. But again, pay attention to the reactions of the man and the dog. And I'm going to play one part right after another without speaking in between parts. So playing part 1 now.
November 2nd, 2021. While Vlad and his wife were outside, letting their new puppy go to the toilet, they suddenly heard something strange.
It was a cold night, and we were taking our new puppy, Charlie, outside to use the bathroom. We started hearing what sounded like barking noises from across the field behind our house. Upon listening to this barking sound, I noticed that it really didn't sound like a dog. It almost sounded like something was mimicking a dog. Didn't think nothing of it at the time. We were in good spirits, and I started barking back at it. Or rather, I was saying woof.
Woof! Woof! Bark! Bark, bark, bark!
And 5 seconds later, we heard the sound again. Only it was right on our fence line.
Vlad and his wife didn't think much of the noise at first, though they couldn't help but wonder what it could be. But then, just a few seconds later, the same sound echoed again. This time from the opposite end of the field.
Me and my girl were kind of puzzled. It was the exact same sound, but how could an animal move that fast? Again, didn't think nothing of it. Then we started hearing other sounds, kind of like a bird. And again, I mocked it.
Once the strange sound stopped, Vlad and his wife decided to head back inside, brushing it off as nothing to worry about. The next evening, however, when Vlad went outside to smoke a cigar, he couldn't shake off an eerie feeling. He felt like he was being watched. And then later, when he reviewed the footage from his security camera, he discovered that his unsettling feeling hadn't come out of nowhere. Though he hadn't seen it in person, this discovery made Vlad suspicious that something unexplainable was happening. Months passed without further incidents, but Vlad couldn't shake his unease. Determined to get answers, he installed wildlife trail cameras around his property. And then one day, while checking the cameras with his daughter, they discovered one lying on the ground.
Yeah, that's interesting. Looks like somebody took the module out of it. That's nope, here it is. There's that. And here is the module. Great. Maybe just caught something. Battery's low. Okay, hold that. Did you get the laptop? Yes. Okay. All right, well, thank God for that. Let's see what's on this. Can you hold this? There's probably some kids or something I want to see right now. Okay, let's pull the SD card out. Okay. What did that even sound like?
I don't know.
Okay, let's go. I'm getting a little paranoid. Okay, I'm gonna go home and better inspect this video.
When they reviewed the footage, an eerie, otherworldly growling sound could be heard, followed by something physically touching the camera.
What I discovered on that trail cam scared me. Whatever it was definitely an animal. From what I can make of it, It looks like a deer, but it definitely does not sound like a deer. And how is a deer able to push a tiny button on the trail cam to pop the modular out?
This discovery left Vlad with countless questions and an unsettling feeling. He replayed the footage multiple times, but it was unlike anything he had ever seen or heard before. A few weeks later, two friends visited for the weekend. Intrigued by the strange events, they decided to explore the area at night together, hoping to uncover clues.
Give me that flashlight.
Dude. Yeah, take that flashlight. Oh, did you hear it? It moved way back there, dude. Oh my God, dude. What the fuck? Hold on. That was close. That was close. It's back over there. Well, whatever that is, it's hopefully normal. Like up there? Yeah.
We've been out here for a solid 4 to 5 hours, and we've heard some pretty strange things, but nothing groundbreaking. Tonight was somewhat of a bust. There are fireworks going off in the distance. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
After hours of searching without success, they gave up and returned home. Frustrated by the lack of answers about what was lurking around his house, weeks passed, leaving Vlad on edge every time he stepped outside after nightfall. But then, one night, while walking his dog, the atmosphere shifted again.
Come on, this way, buddy. It's okay. It's okay, come on. Calm down, calm down. Come on. Calm down. My heart is pounding. Teddy's still going nuts.
As Vlad walks with his dog, a rustling sound emerges from the bushes, and his dog reacts with visible fear. Uneasy, Vlad quickly turns on his camera and begins heading back home, sensing that neither of them is safe.
I can't see. It's okay, it's okay. You sense, buddy. You sense. It's okay, come on. He's scared. I'm scared. Oh my God, Ted. Charlie, come on. Charlie, come on. Come on, Charlie. What do you see? We're back, we're back, we're back.
Finally, they reach the safety of their house, but Vlad's curiosity gets the better of him. Instead of heading inside, he decides to check over his fence to see if anything might have followed them.
Charlie, get back. Charlie.
Oh my god.
As Vlad approaches the fence, the silence is broken by a chilling, childish voice coming from the other side. Startled and overwhelmed, Vlad bolts back inside, shaking to his core by what he just heard. To this day, the mystery of what is lurking around Vlad's house remains unsolved, as no further updates have been shared since this video. This eerie situation leaves us with many unanswered questions and a chilling sense of the unknown. But maybe that's exactly what keeps us coming back for more. Now.
Weird.
That's crazy.
Okay, can I start out with the beginning of the video?
Yes.
What appeared to be what people call a tube was incredible. You know what I'm talking about? Where in the video he films that like tubular thing with all the different like lights inside of it.
Yeah.
That people call them tubes, and they say they're like a real thing that you can encounter, and they're within paranormal things. They're common, and that was impressive from the get.
When I first saw that, I thought, maybe it's a spider web in front of the camera. But I don't know where or how he's got the camera set up. But that's typically my first go-to is, could it be something in front of the camera?
Mm-hmm.
But it was odd. It was very odd. But then everything that followed, I was like, holy crap, he's really got some things going on here.
Well, yeah. And he was trying to blame his dog on his paranoia. He was more scared than the dog. That was funny too. I loved it.
His fear was palpable. Like you could see it in his eyes. You could almost feel what he was feeling in that moment.
Yep. He's like, dog, it's okay. Calm down, dog. And he's the one that's all like, it's okay, dog, calm down.
You could see the fear in the dog too, the way it like flipped sideways, like it was scared of whatever it heard.
I saw the dog being curious.
No, its tail was tucked. And then you can see the moment he takes the leash off the dog, the dog's tail immediately goes back up again, like, okay, we're home, we're safe.
And then what was that voice? That was weird.
Okay, so the voice did it in for me, okay? It's because oftentimes when they talk about skinwalkers, they talk about the fact that, okay, they try to mimic something, but something is just always quite not right. So there's always something a little off about it. And so the deer, but it didn't sound like one. And then the voice, but it was shaky. Like it was like, Daddy, it had this like shake behind it. It was like, that to me did it. I was like, okay, that's so skinwalker, very skinwalker.
That's what they say in the Appalachian too. You can, if you hear a voice, you don't hear it, ignore it.
Yeah.
Don't go look for it.
His reaction.
Yep.
Yeah, his reaction to it was very realistic because he almost fell to try to run away so fast.
Do you know where that was filmed at? Was it in the Appalachian?
I don't know. Okay, so it was reposted in a compilation by Creepy Vids, which is why you see the Creepy Vids stamp on the bottom, which I definitely recommend their videos. Very cool compilations of videos. I like to watch them often because I like to try to figure out where these places are at because I want to go visit them. But he doesn't really say where it's at, who the original poster is. Like he says, the guy's name. But I'd love to get the chance to talk to this guy. See if he still is on the property. See if we could, possibly even investigate the property. So.
All right. Sounds like you got a job to do this week.
Yes. I would love to go visit this property.
Set it up. I'll be there.
Yes.
I'll even drag Sherry with me.
Make a note of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to forget?
I write.
You're going to wake up in the morning. Damn it. I said I was going to do this. Fine. I just wanted to sleep.
No, I'll be like, okay, gotta get up, gotta do schoolwork, gotta take care of the kids, gotta fix breakfast. That's why I forget so many things because of all these other things going on at once.
I'm really excited about the conference this year.
Next year.
Okay, next year. Yes. You're right.
Yeah. We've already done the one for this year. Next year, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to be, it's going to be something that, is going to be a sight to see. We want to make it something special, something cool. So we're pretty two unique characters, so I think we can pull it off.
And we're going to be there for 5 days instead of 2.
Well, we are. The event is actually for 2 days instead of 1.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be so much fun. But I'm gonna put the link for that compilation that I grabbed that video from, so that if you want to watch the whole compilation, it's in the comments, it's in the description. It'll be after probably tomorrow. It'll update once I add it. But I just want to give credit to Creepy Vids, who I snagged the video from. Because they do good videos, good compilations.
I'm sure Creepy appreciates your promotion. Your what's the word I'm looking for? Your recommendation.
Recommendation. Yeah. My promotion. Yeah.
Not promotion, recommendation. I know.
But that was our Halloween episode. I really, really, really was excited for this episode. I brought in some own personal videos of mine that I haven't quite shared around to the degree that I did today. I worked hard on boosting those audios so that everybody could hear it really well. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. And,
I did.
Yeah, good. I'm glad, Chad, that you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But make sure you join us again next week on our normal scheduled time. This was a Halloween special.
What time is that
Thursday,
again?
7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
On YouTube and Facebook.
I'll mark it on my calendar. I'll try to be there.
Make sure you like and share. Let's check out this comment real fast before we go. Citizens of Parasites.
Okay.
Uncle.
All right.
All right. Make sure to like. If you would like to share, that would be great. Just make sure you like it. Just because it helps with the algorithm. We want to be able to share what we do with as many people as possible. We do put a lot of effort into the show. So, want to make sure people get to see it. We have a lot of great guests, and we talk about a lot of cool stuff, kind of some unique stuff sometimes. So, yeah.
Gwendolyn, the funny thing is we haven't even started with guests yet. People don't realize that we're gonna get like some really interesting. We've already got a few. I mean, what are we?
Yeah.
We're not 6 months in.
Yeah, I want to find that guy that was Art Bell. He talked to Art Bell. I want to find that guy that said he can talk to Bigfoot. That'd be a fun, entertaining episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
I'm game. Do it.
Yes.
Sign me up.
I don't know if he's still alive. Let's be honest. Art Bell. That was a long time ago.
It's like George Norrie now.
Yeah. George Norrie, didn't he pass as well? Or no?
I don't know. Maybe there's a new guy.
Yeah.
You know who you need to get? You need to get Rob Lowe, the actor.
That'd be cool.
The heartthrob from the 90s. And he's actually like believes in Bigfoot and does it. If we could get him, that would be like epic.
Yeah, that would be very, very, very cool. I don't know. We'll see.
He's got his own podcast, right? Like the Lowe's Files or something, I think.
Yeah. Yep. But thank you for joining the show. Make sure to like this show and share it if you feel like. But yeah, we'll see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, per normal. So we'll see you. Bye.
Everybody message Gwendolyn and say how pretty her hair is.
It's Viking. Bye.